I think everybody that's going to be here is here. So we'll use the same format as we always do. I'll give you a quick update. Our last session was on May the 11th, so a lot has happened in the 2 months since then. So I'll take 10 or 12 minutes to update you on some of the main activities. And then any questions you have about that or anything you want to add from your perspective is most welcome. And then we're going to do a round table. And the question I have for you today is what is an institute? And I'm asking that from a couple of perspectives. One perspective is from you as your institute. What's happening differently that's making you or causing you to think about reconfiguring or rethinking about what you are as an institute? How do you need to relate to your members in different ways that 2 years ago we might not have been thinking about it? And then the second way is from the international perspective. How should we or could we think differently about what an institute is? In our first 35 years plus of being an organization, we've thought in a very constricted way about an institute is a country, and within a country are the members, and you have an institute that's accountable for all of the members in that country. And yet borders are starting to break down. Professions are starting to break down. The boundaries between professions are starting to get more and more gray. So are there other ways we should be thinking about what an institute is or might be that can attract and bring in more members into our profession and more of those who are consultants in as members and become part of the management consulting family? So I won't say more about that, just to let you simmer those thoughts in your mind as we go through the update. And then we'll just I'll grab off the screen as I always do, so you'll be randomly assigned to give your insights. And then I think we can just continue with the discussion about that. In terms of the work that we've been doing, and when I say we be doing, I do mean we. So I have the pleasure of reporting about these things, but we have dozens of volunteers at the international level and hundreds, if not thousands, of volunteers at the institute level that are all working very hard to advance our profession. So I do want to thank everyone for their very hard work, and also our staff at the institute level. Husaima and Rima put in horrendous hours in terms of keeping us coordinated and keeping us on track. And I know at the institute level, the staff have the same kind of dedication to keeping the institutes on track. So start off by just a round of applause to everyone that does all this hard work. This was all highlighted in this past season in the month of June with our hub meetings. And this is the first time that I'm aware of that we'll be having a hub meeting in all of our major hubs this year. So we started off with the Americas hub, and we had an excellent session there where we really focused in with everyone from the Americas coming together to talk about how we can increase our presence in the Americas. How can we collaborate to make sure that we're working as effectively as possible in that hub? So that was a really profitable session. The next one was the Asia Pacific hub, and they combined their hub with a conference. So it was a half-day conference, virtually, of course. And I had the pleasure of speaking there on the future of management consulting, particularly from the perspective of digitization and AI. So I enjoyed attending that and listening to all of the different perspectives of technology and how it could impact on us going forward. The third was the Euro Hub, and the Euro Hub focused in on updates and sharing of information amongst all of the institutes and the work that they're doing with each other. And now, coming this Friday, we'll have the Africa Hub. First time, I think that Rima can correct me on this one, but I think it's the first time we've actually had an official Africa Hub meeting where we'll have an agenda very similar to that of the Americas Hub, and that is how can we collaborate together to expand our reach throughout Africa. Then the other major event we had in June was International Consultants Day, and that was again a very good event. That has been recorded and it is on our YouTube channel. So if you weren't able to attend, I do recommend you take the time to watch that video, because it's a really great update on the activities at the global level in terms of management consulting profession. One of the things that I've been reporting to you regularly at our sessions is the initiative in the UK of the Chartered Management Consultants. So that is moving forward. The last time I reported, which was in May, we were just coming out of the pilot phase there. And they have now officially launched the Chartered Management Consultant designation in the UK. They call it an award in the UK. The language is just a little bit different. So we're continuing to work with them about the implications of that. It is an award offered in the UK for management consultants working in the UK, but there's no doubt that those of you in institutes or us working in other parts of the world will start getting inquiries from management consultants. Well, what is this? What does it mean? How does it impact on us? Is it available in our country? So we want to answer those questions for you clearly, and we have a series of meetings coming up leading to our August board meeting where we can come back to you all with an official statement about how this will work going forward and make sure that everything works as well as possible. There's no question it's an advancement in the profession in terms of a senior level designation. It requires more experience and more expertise, I believe, but we'll come on that. And Nick, you might want to kick in on that a little bit when we come around to you if there's anything else you would like to add. Nick is our chair of Professional Services Committee, of course, is very involved in that. And that brings me to the next item, which is the Competency Framework. I'm really excited that all of the work of Nick and his team, the hard work in terms of updating our Competency Framework is coming to fruition now. It's in front of a number of different institutes for comment and feedback. And the plan is that it will be coming to our annual meeting for approval, and then there will be an implementation period for institutes to upgrade their competency frameworks to be in alignment with that. So we want to make sure that we are now, but we do continue to be best in class in terms of what it means to be a professional management consultant and how we actually implement that across all of our institutes. And again, Nick, feel free to add to that when we come around in the round table. QAC is continuing to update their processes. The 17024, which is the certification of individuals, is now officially underway, and some institutes are now applying to have that capability. Again, if you watch the if you want to know more about that, we did talk about that extensively at the NCI, so you can learn more about it, not at the NCI, at the International Consultants Day meeting. Also, at the International Consultants Day meeting, we had a report for the National Consulting Index. I think this is one of the really good initiatives. All of our initiatives are good, but this one's really groundbreaking in terms of trying to understand when management consulting emerges as a profession in different economies and different states of economies. The data that is normally used wasn't available this year, so they did a special COVID edition, which looks into what's happened over the last year and projecting forward. And the good news is that they're projecting, based on feedback from institutes, a 5% growth in management consulting over the next year. And from other data sources I've seen from other places, it does look that although we took a hit in 2020 in terms of overall consulting spend globally, it will be rebounding, and there is optimism in terms of consulting as a profession. The treasurer reported at our last board meeting that financial status of Icmci is good. In fact, because of COVID and the lack of travel that is normally in place, those budgetary items, we were able to have some savings. So we want to pass those back to the institutes because we know some have had a difficult time in terms of membership renewals. So in the 2021-2022 budget, which is upcoming, budget and invoicing, which is coming up starting in August, we will be offering a rebate to institutes to help you in terms of your investment in your future activities. We're looking at some bylaw changes. There's a number of bylaw changes underway. Some of them are being driven by strategy. I think the bylaws we put in place a few years ago were a very big move forward. But we found that there were some things which do need some amendment. They're more housekeeping, and some that we really need to have in place in terms of more flexibility for our profession as we move forward. So you will be hearing more about that, and our secretary Jeremy and Rima will be in touch in terms of what some of the suggested changes. I think for this October there'll be more of the housekeeping ones, but start the discussion of some of the more significant ones that we'll have underway. We have a business process automation project underway. I did talk about that in May, and I think Rima did as well. That's moving along nicely. I'm excited about that because it will introduce some efficiencies into the secretariat at Icmci in terms of how we process applications for membership and provisional membership and reassessments and so on. And that is a very good thing, but it'll also be a learning experience for us in terms of passing on to institutes how you might use similar procedures to create efficiencies for your certification processes for CMCs. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is the events. As I mentioned in May, and I always have at any of these events, is the silver lining of COVID is that I've been able to attend more events and be more in touch with institutes than I ever would have been if I was trying to travel to all of these countries. So as we were talking just before the formal session, not a lot of air travel in the last 18 months, but a lot of visits through forums like this one, and it's been really, really interesting. Sometimes I can't be there in person, or the institute takes pity on me because it's the middle of the night when they want me to speak. So I prepare a recorded session, as I did in the Ukraine last month, or for example, I did attend a monthly webinar for Mongolia, where I talked on consulting in disruptive times. I presented to the AP Hub on the future of consulting. I did a session for a university class in the US at Hult University, and really, really enjoyed that. There's nothing more invigorating than talking to students and getting their feedback and seeing their enthusiasm for their career. And there we talked about how they might become consultants and what the tracks are for that. But if they go into private sector or public sector, how consultants can be used. So I think it's really important at the university level to keep them involved. And the last event that I wanted to report on is the Cmc Global Directory. We're at the landmark, very, very close, if we haven't passed now, to the 100 members, which we saw as our critical mass for some real activities. So we do try to have regular sessions where we bring the community together to talk about how they can collaborate, to build projects together, learn from each other, and so on. So those are the comments that I had for you. Again, thanks to our volunteers and to our staff. Rima, anything to add from the executive director position before we go on to the open conversation?
Only the fact that, as Zema mentioned in the morning, we have the membership survey, and we hope everyone gives attention to that soon so that we can start with meeting the obligations for the annual meeting. We have the academic fellows being assessed now, so anyone who did provide a nomination for an academic fellow, those would be announced at the annual meeting. We started the audit, so work is going forward in preparation. The audit is step number 1, and then the reporting, and all the emails to the chairs of committees for reports already has been sent. So it's the busiest time for us at the Secretariat in relation to the annual meeting. So that's the focus now. Plus, of course, the Constantinos, because the last date for providing any applications is the 20th of this month. And after that, the jurors start to work, and that includes us at the Secretariat as well. So, but all will be ready by October.
Thank you. And it reminds me, I did not stress that October 14th is the date of our annual meeting, and registration has gone out already, or at least the date has gone out already. We will use the same format as we've done last year, so it will be virtual. And but we'll have a morning session and an afternoon session, depending on your time zone, but giving you an option to have it not in the middle of the night. And there will be recordings sent out in advance as we did previously. But new this year, which I'm really excited about, is we're going to have speakers fill in the blanks in the hours between the two sessions, so that people can have this as a bit of a mini conference as well. And what we're hopeful for, really hopeful for, is that the board might come together at some physical location so we can support these meetings while being in a room. So have a hybrid kind of a meeting. So if travel restrictions are eased and everybody gets their double vaccinations and so on, we're hopeful that that can happen. Khuzaima, as our executive administrator, any other comments from you that you'd like to add from Rima and I?
Thank you. I think Rima covered all the aspects we're working right now on. The major work for now is preparing for the annual meeting. And as Rima said, the focus work is now for the auditing process. So I hope, again, by October, everything will be ready for presenting for all the delegates. So wish us luck.
Thank you very much. So just to stress Rima's point, the survey, the annual survey is out there now. It's due at the end of July, and this is really important because it sets the number of delegates you will have for the annual meeting, and it gives us all of the data that we need for invoicing and being in touch with you in the most appropriate way. So any questions of anyone that might have of me, or anything you'd like me to cover off that I might have missed?
As for me, it's all okay.
Okay, very good. Excellent. I see smiles and thumbs up, so let's just move on then. So to the exciting part of the agenda is the discussion point. So what is an institute? So I set it up at the beginning. I'd be very interested in your perspective of any thinking that you've done in your institute about how you change how you're perceived, or how you change the value proposition or the customer journey, given what's happening in the profession in your country, and then any insights that you might have about the global perspective of what is an institute as well. So I just usually start at the top, and Tarek, I guess you were one of the first ones on board, so let's go to Jordan and see what comments you might have for us from that perspective, please.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. As for me, and based on the latest developments and updates in consulting sector in Jordan and in the whole world, I think that the role of an institute is changing. And let's say that it is changing very fundamentally. Because let's say that we are facing challenges concerning the issue of organizing the profession. I think this is a main issue in all the countries. But the new issue that we are facing now, it's an issue, and also it's an opportunity. It's a threat opportunity subject that many people in this time is tending to enroll in the management consulting profession, as they are coming from, let's say, a fixed positions sector, because many of them lost their jobs. And so based on losing their jobs, they are now tending to have, let's say, a free kind of job, which is available at the consulting job. So this is a threat, and this is a challenge in the same way, because as a challenge, we can, as institutes, we can ensure, or we can have the opportunity of increasing our members in the institute. Because if we have the ability of attracting those candidates who do not have a very high experience about consulting, and they want to know more and more about consulting, and they want to know how to enroll or how to get into the sector of consulting, especially that we do not have, in most countries, we do not have organized environment that sets the regulations of the consulting profession. So I think that one of our main priorities now and for the next period is to know how to attract this new category of consultants who do not have the experience of consulting, but they say that now I'm working in consulting. So if we cannot attract them, they will become, between brackets, they will turn into a threat. So this is one of the new perspective of an institute, is to develop its approaches of attracting new members based on scanning the environment and scanning the new developments that took place. This is my humble opinion.
Thank you very much. That resonates very much in terms of things I've heard from other parts of the world, that the barrier to entry is very low. And as people change careers or retire or lose their jobs, it's easy to say, I'm a consultant, when really they're a part-time seller of professional expertise. So how do we help them to understand what it really means to be a professional consultant? So I really liked your comment about if we don't attract them, they can become a threat. And I think you're exactly right.
I think so, yes.
Thank you very much.
Let me express some kind of clarification. It's not a threat for it's not necessary to be a threat for an institute. It's a threat for the consulting sector in a country, because the reputation is very important for this sector. And when we have outsiders that they are saying that we are consultants and they do not give the proper performance, it will affect our reputation as a consulting sector, in addition to affecting the reputation of the institute itself.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nick, let's move over to the UK and hear what your insights are on this topic, please.
Okay, well, let's start by saying that our Institute of Consulting in the UK is in a slightly different position to most of the other institutes around the world, in that we are actually a part of, or an affiliate of, a subsidiary of a much larger institute in the UK, the Chartered Management Institute, as a result of a merger that took place some years ago. And so as an institute, we lack some independence in terms of resource for doing, what an institute needs to do in terms of marketing and so on. So that's the background to our situation. But certainly over the last few years, and particularly over the last 2 or 3 years, we have suffered a decline in number of members, which I think is common in many institutes around the world, but I think particularly acute in our case. And most of that loss, in fact, nearly all of that loss of numbers was older consultants retiring or sadly passing away, and not being replaced by an influx of new, younger consultants coming in. And within our institute, those of us who were concerned about the situation had discussed what needed to be done about it and suggested various changes to our parent body, which eventually came to a head about 2.5 years ago with what you might call somewhat of a minor revolution. And I have to say, in fairness to Chartered Management Institute, they actually took notice of what was going on and made a positive strategy decision that the Institute of Consultants needed to have some reform and would have the full support of the Chartered Management Institute to do that. So we have been working in the interim on a new style of membership body for consultants in the UK, which I have to say from the start will not be called an institute. That is a legacy word which is just not popular in the UK anymore. I mean, the obvious aim of our new membership body is to attract the younger consultants. Our consultancy profession in the UK, you could say, is segregated into three main areas. We have the big six consultancies and those sort of just under that level who have never really taken an interest in being part of our professional institute, nor taken any interest in the CMC award, on the basis that they have their own competence frameworks and assessment methods and qualifications and so on and so on. Then we have the sort of smaller niche consultancies who again have not shown much interest in the Institute, but some of their consultants have as individuals. And then of course we have the tens or even hundreds of thousands of individual consultants in the UK who would dearly love to have some membership body to support them, but in the ways of today's society don't want to take any responsibility or have to put any input to that body at all. And so we've been looking at designing a new membership body, which we're calling an academy, the Academy of Professional Consultants. And that is set up to attract particularly the younger consultants who are looking for a basis for their career development, for training, for development, for sharing of ideas, for networking, and so on, without, if I may say, all the trappings of the legacy institute. So we're setting that up and hoping to launch that probably sometime during next year now, I think, because of the delay due to COVID and so on. And the Chartered Management Consultant Award is part of that initiative as well. And that the Chartered Management Award is now attracting those big six consultancies in the UK to the Institute and what it has to offer in terms of the chartered status. And we hope to use that as a vehicle to bring people into membership as well, even from the larger organisations. But this whole thing is wrapped up very much in the discussions between Icmci and the Chartered Management Institute and our own, what will be the new institute in the UK. So that, that's where we are in the UK. It really is all change at the moment. And what we're looking forward to is a reversal of the trend we've seen. And certainly the signs are very positive that we will be able to achieve that for the future.
Mm-hmm. Could you say a couple of words about how someone would affiliate with this academy? How if it's not an institute, it sounds like it's not a membership. So what's the value proposition and how do you?
Well, in fact, yeah, I mean, in terms of membership, it will the process will be exactly the same as it ever was. That you know, a consultant will apply to join, and there will be the certain sort of entry requirements, like, you know, they have to show they are a genuine consultant and not just somebody in between jobs and so on. But there will be a student grade for those going through university and college courses in management consultancy or general management. And But the membership will be exactly the same. I guess the big difference is that if you like, the concept of the academy now is that it is a giving organization rather than trying to be a taking organization. And I think that's probably the best way of summing it up, is that, you know, we're looking to provide for members that come in a platform for them to receive benefit from the Institute without having to go through all the, you know, all the trappings of the legacy side of things. It is a bit of an experiment. We'll see how it goes. But, you know, with the support of the Chartered Management Institute, we can make a go of this that we would not have been able to independently as a separate institute in the UK.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Yeah, you are a little unique in terms of being affiliated with a larger organization. There's two others. The China is set up in a similar way, where they're part of a much larger organization.
Yeah.
South Korea, where their domestic certification program is much larger than the CMC, and the CMC is sort of the international arm, if you will. I'm not sure of any others. Reem, are there any others where they're part of a larger organization?
I was answering an email, to be honest, and maybe missed on that, but the ones who are larger, part of a larger UBIT, which is WKO, because UBIT
yes,
are
of
our
course,
members,
Austria,
China, I don't know if you already mentioned that.
I did,
South Korea.
Yes. Those four. Yeah, I forgot Austria, of course, which is our largest institute. So
yeah,
there you go. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, Rima. Sorry to catch you off guard like that. Next time I'll start with your name.
It's okay. I was half listening, but had to deal with an issue for CMC Canada.
No, I understand.
I'm with you now fully.
No, I understand completely. Greg, over to the US. What's your situation with regard to the Institute and its positioning?
Hi, everyone, and it's great connecting. Thank you for continuing these meetings. In addition to being a member, all of us members of Icmci, having these meetings periodically keep us connected. So I love hearing from other IMCs what you're doing, your challenges, your wins. So thank you for continuing this dialogue. So so we have IMC USA's definition, and then you have my 30-second elevator speech, right? So, but I like to brand the organization as a certifying body with international ties. I think that most of our members in the US are independent management consultants. And unlike working for a big bank or a hospital or a big organization like a Accenture, a KPMG, or independent management consultants do not have those resources at their disposal. So, so we like to try to brand the organization as a collaborative community where you can share resources. And those are the two key areas that I try to communicate when speaking with potential members, existing members, and that's who we are. I'm working with the board to put more emphasis on the CMC. Often our members will say, well, no, I joined to do business, to get business, right? We hear that a lot. I joined to build my book of clients, or to maybe, improve the current book that I have. And so, I need you to send me clients. We get some of that. And I go, well, we do some of that. And our independent management consultants will connect with others. Once they get to know them, they trust them, and they have confidence in them that they will share business with you, because you can't do it all sometimes, right? And you need specialty areas. But the CMC is really what sets you apart. We have close to 900,000 management consultants in the US. Think about that for a moment. Our membership is comprised of about 537 as of today, and I count each one. And so and so there's a huge marketplace, and again, we're not going to reach all 900,000 management consultants, no doubt, but we have a story for those, and a benefit, a value to those who are mostly independent. That seems to be where our niche is and where our market is. So we're working with the board to try to identify, and also to help educate the client community that we exist. That's another area that we're trying to focus on. There are organizations that have much deeper pockets than we do. For example, in the US, we have certified financial planners. It's a 3-year program. You learn how to give advice to individual investors for, say, retirement planning, right? Anyone you don't even need a high school diploma to get a securities license in the U.S. Anyone could be it, and a stock salesman, and be more. But if you have someone that has millions of dollars to invest, you probably want a professional to give you advice on how to preserve that nest egg, right? And to retire. So you may not want to go to a salesman for that, right? You want someone who can demonstrate that they have the competency to advise you on what to do. So there's an organization for that, and they started, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, I remember, and suddenly there was a big rush to get certified because clients were walking in to a brokerage firm and saying, I want a CFP to manage my money. So suddenly, we started seeing salespeople leave, and the industry turned more into money management, right? So I'm trying to work with our board to, how can we do that? How could that be our narrative? And then I think that will not only drive clients to IMC USA, perhaps to look at our directory, but it will drive consultants to IMC USA because their clients are asking them whether or not they're certified. So, so these are some of the communications we're trying to get out there. I'll just touch on a few more things, if I may. Ethics. Many of the institutes have ethics. In the U.S., the profession is not regulated. So we here in the U.S., we lead with ethics, we lead with certification, so that the client community and the profession has something that is almost not quite self-regulated, but self-accountable, I guess. We want to communicate that we're adhering to some sort of standard, and not all members, not just for our certified members, but for any member of our organization, they must all agree to follow our code of ethics. We also like to think of ourselves as the face of the profession in the U.S. We're trying to get that message out more. But from a organizational standpoint, we just elected our new board recently. We have a new chair for the first time in 3 years, and there's a lot of positive energy, a lot of organizational change, leadership change. We just had a leadership summit where we invited volunteers throughout the entire organization, about 100, to participate. We put together a great program, and we're going to do part 2 of that later in the year. And we made it early in the year this year because that's when a lot of the elections on our chapter level, we have 10 chapters are elected. We have committee chair positions that turn over. So we wanted to do the summit early in the year to help set up volunteers for success throughout the year. We started a marketing program this year, actually budgeted for it. It's showing some very good results. We have doing a lot in social media, branding, and we're measuring the results. The great thing about social media and other digital marketing efforts is that you could measure the results. Each month we prepare an infographic. How much money did we spend? How many leads did we generate? How many members did we generate? Where did it come from? We can adjust our focus based on the results. And we're beginning this, we started this program back in the first part of 4Q last year. About January, February, we started seeing an ROI, a break even, and now going forward, we're beginning to see a positive ROI on that investment. In May, our last report, we generated over 16 new members, and most of them came from social media like LinkedIn and Facebook and other efforts. So we're going to be continuing that effort. We just changed our platform, which was a big deal for us. Operationally, it saves us a lot of money, and we're going to get a learning management system out of the program. And we're investing in how can we take our current academy and perhaps refresh the content, higher quality videos, and make it available on demand, repackage it so that we can attract more folks, not only to learning tools, but also membership. So that's something we're working on. And then of course, and I think this was mentioned earlier, the entire globe continues to evolve in terms of change. We have the next several generations coexisting. When I grew up, I think we had 3 generations. Now we have something like 7 generations coexisting. So we can't be one size fits all. So we have to have an entry level for just about everyone. I had a conversation with two 25-year-olds recently, out of all places, a bar. And one of their biggest fears was that they're going to be replaced at their job by the next generation, the 22-year-olds. And I was like, wow, you're worrying about that? I thought college debt was your biggest worry. No, that's what they're thinking. So, it's moving faster than it did back when, I grew up. So I think that it's something we're trying to be mindful of. Technology, I'm preaching to the choir, so I won't get into all the details, but flexibility, COVID-19 has changed the whole human resource landscape, right? And it puts the worker in more of a power position to demand change, right? So, well, I'll come back to work, or I'll work for you, but I want to work from home 2 days a week. We're seeing a lot of that here in the U.S. So I think it's all going to change, and it provides a lot of opportunity because someone needs to help advise businesses and organizations on this change, right? And who better than a management consultant? So I think I truly believe that I'm very optimistic about the profession here in the U.S. and around the world. And whatever we can do to team up our biggest challenge, again, is getting our membership numbers up, getting that message out, tracking those. And I think we're going to be doing some of the things to do that. And I'll end there. Thank you, Dwight.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that excellent overview. It's great. And Nadezhda, can we move to Bulgaria and hear what's happening in your institute?
Yeah, let me try to,
Perfect.
I have my video now working. Hi. So actually, I'm not part of the organization in Bulgaria. I have 20 years experience in marketing and project management. For the last 10 years, I've been working for one of the biggest snacking companies in the world on the European level. And the other days I was contacted last month, actually, I was contacted by local producers asking for consultancy. And the way how I landed here in that meeting, actually, I was surfing in the internet to find a bit more info and just validating for myself, is this an area where I would like to tap into? Is this my next path or no? So I'm just here by accident, but, maybe I had to say that in the beginning, but it was very, very valuable for me. And actually, to Tarek's comments about the newcomers in that aspect. I'm one of them, most probably. And I was hesitant whether I would like to be or no, but now, listening to your conversation, actually, it gives me more positive thoughts that this is an area where I would like to develop and maybe go for it. So that's what I can share from my side. I was planning to connect with a Bulgarian organization, but anything that I can be in use for the current conversation, I'm ready to share. And nice to meet you all.
Well, very, very nice to meet you. And yes, we do have an institute in Bulgaria, so do follow up with them. And I know they would love to talk to you. And we're always looking for consultants who have marketing background, because they're kind of management consultants with marketing background is tough. So we'll put you to work as a volunteer as soon as you're registered, for sure.
Ready to do so.
But joining the Certified Management Consultant family is one of the best things I've ever done. And I think anytime you talk to a CMC, you will find that it is being part of a global community and hugely helpful to all of us. So
yeah. I will connect with a lot of organizations.
Yeah,
I just added the email of the chair of Icmci Bulgaria in the chat, Gergana Mantakova. So if you want, you can take the email and contact her directly.
Thanks
you
a
for
lot.
joining us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If there is anything confidential, I can leave the meeting, by the way.
Oh, no, not at all. Our meetings are open. So we're never quite sure who's going to show up from the institutes. And I'm glad you did. Thank you. And I'm also very, very pleased to hear that from your perspective as a potential newcomer, that the kind of conversation we're having resonates with you. So that's good. It means we're talking about the right things. Okay, Rima, over to you in terms of your thoughts on the question of what is an institute. Thank you, Nadezhda.
Okay. And I'm going to repeat what I said in the morning. And maybe that's something I gained over the years, but looking at what or why someone would join an institute, it's because the institute should provide opportunities. And by opportunities, I do not mean work opportunities. It's opportunities for knowledge, it's opportunities for information, it's opportunities for networking. So it's the role of the Icmci to facilitate the information to the members that are related to there's so many different aspects that they would be looking for. Greg was saying that at the Icmci USA, it's mostly individuals who are members, and usually companies provide such things. They provide the knowledge, they provide the information. So we need to take that into the Icmcis. We need to make sure that an institute offers that. And our Icmcis are no different. They should be offering that. But on top of that, and what you would see at companies as well, Greg, is that they would advocate for how they do business. They have their own ethical standard. They have their own values that they maintain. And that is also what Icmcis should be promoting for. They should be promoting values. They should be promoting ethics. They should make sure that the members who are part of their network and part of their institute also abide by those, but not in a policey way. They don't need to be like police standing with a baton saying, this is how it should be done. It should be a culture that is established at the level of all in this institute for it to become one, and at the same time for Icmci to be able to lead everyone in the direction where we, as heads of all those institutes, want ours to be, our profession, that is. If we want to end up being the voice of the profession as the Icmci, collaborative Icmci, then that is what we all should be doing at the level of the Icmcis. Lead, provide, facilitate, promote, all of those services that individuals seek and management consultants seek in order to enhance the profession and the professionals.
Okay, that's excellent. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this roundtable. It's very, very interesting and enlightening to me in terms of the discussions. As you know, we had a major initiative which is now wrapping up, which was called Icmci 2020 onwards. And at that task force, we met with every one of the institutes to talk to you about matters of membership and how to attract members and how to encourage those people who are new to the industry of management consulting to join the profession of management consulting. And that's really all about membership levels and that recommendations. That report should be coming to our annual meeting in October. But then aside from that is the larger question of how do we attract those members in different ways. So those that are, as Nick said, are not any longer turned on, or in fact might be turned off by the word institute because it's so formal and so rigid appearing, and so institutional appearing, that we need to think of different ways to reach out to them. And what is the role of Icmci in that? So for example, we're now with ISO 27700, we have an agreement with another consulting organization that are not management consultants, to give them the ability to train on the ISO 27000 checklist. We have a similar agreement with EBRD, which provides that training to management consultants that go through their program in some of the developing countries of the world. So what does that mean to institutes? Are there other kinds of affiliations that we might be having with organizations to reach out more broadly to those who think of themselves as consultants, but really aren't aware of what the profession of management consulting is? And if we enter into agreements with that kind of a global organization, could it be an institute? And if it is, how do we relate with those members and get them to be involved at the local level with our existing institutes? So I think strategically, these are all questions that we need to wrestle with going forward, because if we keep thinking in the box that we've been in for our first 35 years, we're not going to survive the next 35 years. We really need to think creatively about how it is that we're going to grow our membership in our profession. Greg, it was very brave of you to show the numbers in terms of percentage. You're 537 against the 800,000, and we face that same issue globally. You know, of the millions and millions of management consultants in the world, how can we increase that 60,000 that we have that are members and get it to be 1.2 million and then 2.4 million, and then, you know, whatever the numbers might be, that in the same way the professional financial planners have been able to grow, and the project managers have been able to grow. And the answer to that is to build our profile with the client organizations. Once they start demanding the CMC, or once they start demanding the ISO 20700 checklist training, then people will start coming to us to get that. So we need to be thinking about it in all of these ways. So that's me just kind of going on with my thoughts. Any closing thoughts that anyone has that you would like to add to your original roundtable comments?
Only one.
Yes.
The thought that you put on the table about others being considered as institutes or not. Again, if I look back at the logic that I come from, an IMC is a facilitator of knowledge, information, and opportunities. And since those are such, because they facilitate that, because when you put them together in a room with any of the management consultants that are part of our current network, then opportunities arise and networking happens and information is gathered and benefit is established. So from my own perspective, I believe the answer is yes, but maybe that's food for thought for everyone else.
Well, we'll see, and that's the debate and the discussion we need to have. But to me, it's not a competition. It's not stealing members from one institute for another institute, or undermining someone. It's really all about how do we grow the profession of management consulting versus all of those individuals out there who are part-time deliverers of specialized expertise and have consultant on the business card, but don't really understand what it means to be a professional management consultant. So we're 2 minutes to the hour, so I'll give you the gift of those 2 minutes, and thank you very much for your participation. This will be recorded. Rima will send around, or Josema will send around the link of this once it's posted on YouTube, so feel free to share it with your colleagues. And looking forward to our next session, which will be in September, I believe. Isn't that right? Yes. And so enjoy the rest of your summer, and have a great day.
Thanks a lot, and
Bye bye everyone.
Bye.
have a great day for